My name is Caleb Rourke. I'm a firefighter and EMT with the Athens Fire Department in southeastern Ohio. Our station sits just off East State Street, a few minutes from the Hocking River and less than 10 minutes from US Route 33. We cover Athens, the Plains, Nelsonville, and a wide stretch of rural county roads that run toward Wayne National Forest. Some shifts are nothing but medical calls, chest pain, overdoses, lift assist. Other nights it's structure fires, vehicle rollovers, and barns burning in the middle of a field with no hydrants within half a mile. I've been on this job 9 years. A standard shift is 24 hours. We check in at 7 a.m. sharp. First thing is apparatus check. Engine 3 gets a full walk around. Tires, compartments, pump panel, hose beds. Then personal gear. My turnout coat and pants hang on the rack beside my boots. I check the reflective striping, the stitching at the cuffs, the face shield on my helmet. My SBAC cylinder holds 45 minutes of air if I'm breathing steady. In a real fire, it's closer to 20. I check the pressure gauge, run the pass alarm to make sure it shrieks if I stop moving, and reset the regulator. If something fails inside a structure, you don't get a warning twice. Engine 3 runs with 4 of us. Captain Reeves drives and handles command until a chief arrives. He's quiet and he doesn't waste words. Lopez rides the nozzle seat and pulls first line. Carter is our EMT and handles most of the patient care when we switch from fire to medical. I rotate between search, backup line, and outside vent depending on the call. We know each other's habits, and we know how each other moves in smoke. When the tones drop at night, the station speaker cracks once before dispatch comes through. That sound alone pulls you out of sleep. Your heart rate jumps before you even process the address. Structure fire reported. Vehicle accident with injuries. Possible entrapment. You're already standing up before the dispatcher finishes the cross streets. Boots on, coat zipped, radio clipped. We're in the engine and moving in under a minute. Fire behaves. Heat rises, smoke collects at the ceiling and pushes down as the room saturates. Wood floors weaken near the joist. Drywall fails. You watch for rollover in the smoke layer, and you cool it before it flashes. If the floor feels spongy under your weight, you get out. If the smoke turns black and thick and starts pulsing, you back up and hit it from a safer angle. The building gives you information if you know how to read it. Route 33 keeps us real busy. Tractor trailers drift across lanes at 2 a.m. In winter, the overpasses freeze before the rest of the road. We've pulled drivers out of crushed sedans with hydraulic cutters while traffic backs up for miles. We've worked wrecks in the median while state troopers shine spotlights over our shoulders. There's a system to it. Stabilize the vehicle, pop the door, cut the hinge, clear the path, get the patient out. In town, most of the houses are older wood frame builds. Narrow staircases, low ceilings, bedrooms usually off a central hallway. You search the same way every time. Sweep left, sweep right, check behind doors, under beds, inside closets. Call out so your partner knows your location. Stay low, follow the wall, keep track of your hose line. The rookies say they're afraid of the flames. They picture getting trapped, running out of air, the roof collapsing on them. And that fear makes sense. But after enough calls, you realize fire follows patterns. It spreads according to fuel and oxygen. It weakens what holds it up. It leaves evidence of where it started. You can prepare for it. What stays with you are the calls where the pattern fails. I'm not talking about arson or electrical faults or hidden void spaces. Those still fit into something physical. I'm talking about moments inside a structure where the layout doesn't match the exterior. Or when you clear a room and then hear movement in it again. Or when you account for every member on your crew and still see someone standing in the smoke. I don't have a theory for any of it. I don't sit around the kitchen table at the station trying to explain it. I go home after shift, sleep a few hours, and come back the next morning like always. But there are a few calls I still replay when I'm lying in my bunk at 3 a.m., waiting for the next set of tones. The first one happened in Nelsonville, just off Chestnut Street. Dispatch toned us out at 2:14 in the morning. Flames were already showing from the second-floor windows when we turned onto the block. It should have been routine. The call came in at 2:14 a.m. Dispatch reported a working structure fire on Chestnut Street in Nelsonville. Neighbor called it in. Flames visible from the second floor. Possible elderly male occupant inside. No confirmation on whether he'd made it out. We were on Route 33 when the tones dropped. Reeves turned us toward Nelsonville without saying much. I was already pulling my hood over my head in the back seat, while Lopez checked the nozzle coupling one more time. The sky was clear, no wind, and that mattered. When we turned onto Chestnut, we saw it immediately. Flames were venting from a second-floor window on the right side of the house. The front door was closed. No visible fire on the first floor. Two neighbors stood barefoot in the yard across the street. Reeves pulled past the address, so we had room to work. I stepped off the engine and I felt the heat even from the sidewalk. Lopez and I pulled a pre-connect line to the front door, while Carter grabbed the thermal imaging camera. One of the neighbors yelled that Mr. Jones lived alone. Late 70s. Didn't drive much anymore. They hadn't seen him come out. Reeves gave the order for interior search and fire attack. We masked up, air on. The world narrowed to the sound of my own breathing inside the regulator. Lopez forced the front door, and it gave on the second hit. Smoke pushed out low and thick. I stayed below it and followed the hose in. The first floor was charged with heat, but not fully involved. Fire had started upstairs. We moved fast. The staircase was narrow and straight ahead from the front door. I could see orange light flickering at the top. The railing was already hot through my glove. We stayed low and advanced. At the top of the stairs, the hallway ran left to right. Fire was venting from the bedroom on the right. The left side was dark but filled with smoke. Carter stayed at the stair landing with the TIC and began sweeping. Lopez hit the ceiling with a short burst to cool the rollover. Steam filled the hallway. We advanced to the right bedroom first, and it was fully involved. The bed frame was visible through flame. The window had blown out. Heat was pushing hard toward the hall. We knocked that room down enough to search it. No victim in sight. The mattress collapsed inward when Lopez hit it again. Carter called from the hall that the left side of the room was cooler. We backed out of the fire room and moved left. First door, bathroom, clear. Second door, small bedroom, empty. Bed, dresser, no occupant. At the end of the hall was one more door, closed. That was normal. People sleep with doors closed. I tried the handle. It turned. I pushed it open and swept low with my gloved hand. Bedroom. Single bed against the wall. No fire in this room yet. Light smoke at the ceiling. I moved in and checked the bed. Empty. I checked behind it. Closet door at the far wall. Closet, I said over the radio. Lopez stayed at the doorway while I crossed the room. The closet door felt warm. That was strange. There was no visible fire on this side of the house. I opened it. Inside was a narrow space, barely 3 feet deep. No shelving, no clothes, just a man standing upright against the back wall. He was facing forward. He was fully dressed in a white undershirt and dark pants. His skin was intact, no visible burns, no smoke staining on his face. His eyes were open. For half a second, I thought we'd found him alive, and then I realized he wasn't breathing. I stepped closer to check for a pulse. The air inside that closet, well, it was hotter than the hallway. My thermal camera wasn't on me. I left it with Carter. I reached forward to grab his shoulder. His eyes shifted. They moved from somewhere past me and focused directly on my face. The right hand came up fast and grabbed my wrist. The grip was strong. "You left," he said. I tried to pull back, but his fingers tightened. I felt heat through my glove, like metal heating under a torch. Lopez stepped into the room then. "Caleb, move." I braced my boot against the closet frame and pulled hard. The man's skin began to blister under my hand. Not slowly, fast. The white of his undershirt darkened as if something inside him was heating from the core outward. His fingers didn't loosen. "You left," he repeated. And then his grip slackened, and his body collapsed straight down. Not like someone falling, like something hollow losing structure. He dropped into a pile of blackened material at my feet. No bones visible or recognizable form, just fragments and ash. The heat in the closet spiked instantly. Lopez dragged me back by my coat collar. Fire rolled into the hallway from the right side again, and we had to pull out. We exited down the stairs and regrouped outside, while another line finished suppression from the exterior. The fire was knocked down within 20 minutes. Overhaul took another hour. When the structure was safe, the county coroner walked through with us. Mr. Jones's body was located in the kitchen on the first floor, near the back door. Severe smoke inhalation. He likely died before the fire fully extended upstairs. I didn't say anything about the closet. Lopez didn't either. Later, when we were stripping gear back at the station, I pulled off my glove, and there were 5 blister marks across my wrist, evenly spaced, oval, like fingertips. I'd worn full structural gloves the entire time, no breach in the fabric. Medical documented it as a contact burn from heated debris, and I didn't argue. The closet was measured during investigation. According to the layout of the house, it should have been deeper, at least 5 feet. But when investigators checked after the fire, the back wall of that bedroom was flush with the exterior brick. There was no space for a closet at all. The house was torn down 2 months later. I drove past the lot once after shift. The foundation was still there. And I check every closet twice now. Case 2. The Route 33 overpass. The call came in at 3:47 a.m. Single vehicle rollover. U.S. Route 33 eastbound, just past the Plains exit. Possible entrapment. Ohio State Highway Patrol already en route. We were 5 minutes out when dispatch updated. Vehicle upside down in the median. 1 occupant confirmed. No other vehicles involved. Route 33, it's dark in that stretch. No businesses, no houses. Just a long ribbon of highway, bordered by low grass and a shallow drainage ditch. There's an overpass about a quarter mile past the exit. County Road 24 crosses above it. We've worked wrecks there before. Reeves positioned the engine to block the right lane. State troopers had already shut down eastbound traffic. A silver sedan was resting upside down in the median, roof crushed inward but not fully collapsed. The driver's side was pinned against the dirt. The passenger side was accessible. Headlights were still on. Lopez and I grabbed cribbing and stabilization blocks. Carter brought the trauma bag. I could see the driver hanging in his seatbelt through the shattered windshield. He was conscious. Well, we stabilized the vehicle first. Cribbing under the frame, wedges at the pillars. Once it felt solid, Lopez killed the battery while I crawled through the broken passenger window. The driver was male, mid-20s, blood running from a cut on his forehead down into his hair. Airbag deployed. His eyes tracked me when I leaned in. "Hey there, I'm Caleb with the fire department," I began. "You're gonna be okay. We're getting you out." He swallowed and nodded once. His voice was shaky but clear. "There was someone in the road," he said. I checked his airway and pulse while Carter slid in behind me. "Okay," I said. "We'll talk about that in a second. Just stay still." "There was someone standing there," he said again. Just standing in my lane." His vitals were unstable, but not catastrophic. We cut the seatbelt and supported his neck, while Lopez prepared to remove the windshield entirely. Glass came out in chunks. The hydraulic cutter groaned as it bit into the frame. "Did they run off?" Carter asked. The driver shook his head, as much as the collar allowed. "No, they didn't move." Lopez and I exchanged a look, but kept working. We extricated him in under 10 minutes, loaded him onto the stretcher. Carter climbed into the back of the medic unit while I rode along. As we pulled away, I looked back toward the overpass, and there was someone standing on the guardrail above us. A figure centered on the bridge, hands at their sides. No vehicle stopped on the shoulder, no hazard lights or movement. Just standing there. The trooper's cruiser lights strobed blue against the concrete supports. I leaned toward the driver's window of the medic unit. "Do you, see someone up there?" I asked the trooper. He looked up, then back at me. "Where?" "On the bridge," I said. He stepped out of his cruiser and shined his light upward. The bridge was empty. No one on the guardrail, no car pulled over, no shadows. I didn't argue. I got back in the unit and we continued toward the hospital. The driver coded once in transit. Carter worked him hard. We got a pulse back before arrival, but he was critical. And he died in surgery 2 hours later. Highway Patrol asked us for our statements later that morning. Standard procedure. They told us the driver's dash cam had been recovered. It was an aftermarket unit mounted near the rearview mirror. And I asked to see it. The trooper hesitated, but eventually turned his laptop toward me. The footage showed the sedan traveling eastbound. Speed steady, no swerving. No headlights from oncoming traffic in that stretch. At timestamp 3:45:12, the driver's headlights illuminated the lane ahead. And for 3 frames, less than a second, there was someone standing in the middle of the road, centered in the lane, facing the vehicle. No reflective clothing, no visible features, just a human shape in direct line with the headlights. At 3:45:13, the shape was gone. The driver jerked the wheel hard right, and the vehicle clipped the median and flipped. The trooper rewound the footage. The 3 frames were still there. "Probably a glitch," he began. "Camera artifact." "Artifact from what?" I asked. He didn't answer that. The next day, I asked Reeves if Highway Patrol had shared the footage officially. He shook his head. "No, they said it corrupted when they exported it." I checked with the trooper I'd spoken to, and he told me the same thing. File damaged, can't retrieve. I didn't push it. A week later, we ran another call on that same stretch of 33. Disabled vehicle this time. Engine trouble. Middle-aged woman pulled onto the shoulder. While Lopez helped her pop the hood, I walked a few yards down the median toward where the sedan had flipped. The glass there was flattened from the crash. Bits of broken glass still glittered in the dirt. I looked up at the overpass again. Nobody there. But I noticed something. On the concrete barrier above, centered over the eastbound lane, there was a dark streak on the guardrail, about shoulder height, vertical, like something had been standing there long enough to leave a mark. State crews around there clean bridges regularly. Graffiti doesn't last long. This wasn't spray paint. It looked worn into the metal, I climbed halfway up the embankment and squinted. The streak wasn't wide. It was shaped like two narrow lines close together, like footprints. I didn't mention it to anyone. After that call, I started carrying a small personal body camera on night shifts, not department issued, just something I bought online. I clipped it to my turnout coat during highway calls. I never caught anything unusual on it, but every time we run Route 33 after midnight, I check the overpass before we clear the scene. Once, about 3 months after the rollover, we were returning from a medical call in the plains around 2:30 a.m. As we passed under that same bridge, I looked up automatically, and there was a figure standing at the center again, hands at his sides, facing down toward the vehicle. No vehicle parked above. I leaned forward in my seat. "Reeves," I said, "slow down." He glanced up through the windshield at the bridge. "What?" "On the guardrail," I said. He tapped the brakes slightly. I looked up again, and the guardrail was empty. We kept driving. Nobody said anything else about it. I have worked dozens of wrecks since then. Most of them make sense. Speed, alcohol, ice, distraction. This one didn't. The driver said someone was standing in his lane. The camera showed someone in his lane. And twice now, I've seen someone on that overpass with no car, no movement, and no reason to be there. When we respond to that stretch of highway after dark, I make sure one of us always looks up. Case 3. The cabin off Hope Moonville Road. The call came in at 1:26 a.m. Smoke investigation. Possible cabin fire near Hope Moonville Road, east side of Wayne National Forest. Caller was a hiker who said he saw smoke through the trees while driving out. That road is narrow and uneven. No streetlights. No call service once you're a few miles in. Reeves drove slow once we left the paved stretch and turned onto gravel. The engine bounced hard enough to rattle tools inside the compartments. There are old hunting cabins scattered through that part of the forest. Some are maintained. Some haven't been touched in decades. We found the cabin about a quarter mile off the road down a dirt track. Single-story wood structure. Tin roof. One window facing the clearing. No visible flames from the outside. No glow in the trees. There was smoke coming from the chimney. Not heavy smoke. Just a steady gray stream rising straight up into the night air. Reeves killed the engine and stepped out. The forest was quiet. No wind. No insects loud enough to matter. Just the ticking of our cooling engine. We pulled the line anyway. Standard procedure. The front door was shut. No lights inside. No vehicles parked nearby. I tried the handle. Locked. Lopez forced it with a Halligan. The door frame splintered inward. We masked up before entry. The interior was dark. No visible flame, no active fire in the main room. A stone fireplace sat against the far wall. No flames in it either. No visible embers. But the air inside was warmer than outside. Not structure fire warm, just noticeably warmer. "Thermal," Reeves said. Carter stepped in and swept the TIC across the room. Walls cool, ceiling cool, floor cool. Fireplace reading slightly elevated, but not active. There were 3 wooden chairs positioned in a half circle facing the hearth, all evenly spaced, all pointed inward. No other furniture in the room, except a small table against the wall. No footprints in the dust near the doorway. I stepped toward the fireplace and crouched down. The inside of the hearth was clean. No ash, no charred woods, no coals. But the stone around it was blackened, like something had burned recently. "Anyone home?" Lopez called out. No response. We cleared the main room and moved to the back hallway. 2 small bedrooms, both empty, mattresses stripped, no bedding or signs of recent use. Then I noticed something on the floor near the wall opposite the fireplace. A square outline in the dust, about 3 feet by 3 feet. The wood planks there looked newer than the rest of the floor. "There's a hatch," I said. Reeve stepped over and brushed the dust aside with his boot. There was a metal ring flush with the floor. "Padlocked," Lopez said. He was right. A new silver padlock secured the hatch closed. The lock wasn't rusted, wasn't old, it'd been put there recently. We were dispatched for a basement search, but smoke from the chimney with no visible fire upstairs meant something had to be below. Reeves nodded once. Lopez cut the lock. The metal snapped clean under the bolt cutters. We lifted the hatch. A rush of colder air came up from below. Not stale, cold. I pointed my flashlight downward. Dirt floor, rough wooden steps leading down. No railing. We descended one at a time. The basement wasn't finished, just packed earth and exposed beams. The ceiling above us creaked faintly under our weight. In the center of the dirt floor was a circular burn mark, about 4 feet across. Black soil, darker than the surrounding ground. No visible ash, no wood, just a ring. Against the far wall sat a single object. A firefighter helmet. Yellow, old style. No modern reflective striping. I walked toward it slowly. The shield on the front had no department name, no number, just a blank space where something had been removed. I picked it up. The inside leather liner was brittle. "Reeves," I said. "This is old." He stepped closer and looked. There was a faint impression where a nameplate used to be screwed into the front. Carter's radio crackled suddenly, then cut out. "Engine 3 to command," he said. No response. He tried again. Static. Lopez tapped his own radio. Dead. Mine too. All 3 units showed signal bars, but none transmitted. "Upstairs," Reeves said. "Now." We climbed back up the stairs. As soon as my boots hit the main floor, I heard something shift above us. A loud crack, then another. I looked toward the fireplace. Orange light flickered inside the hearth. Flame. Active flame. It hadn't been there 2 minutes ago. "Line in," Lopez shouted. He and I moved fast to pull hose through the front door. Before we could fully advance, the ceiling above the fireplace sagged inward. Fire rolled across the top of the room. The 3 chairs caught almost instantly. The walls ignited faster than a normal cabin fire should have. "Out!" Reeves yelled. We backed out the front door just as the interior flashed. And within seconds, the entire cabin was involved. Flames punched through the roof. The tin panels curled upward under heat. We set up defensively and protected the tree line, and the cabin burned to the foundation in less than 15 minutes. Nobody came out. No one ran. When the fire died down enough for overhaul, we checked the remains. There was no visible basement. The floor had collapsed inward, but beneath it was solid earth. No cavity, no stair opening, no burned circle in the dirt. Just compact soil. And the helmet was gone. We returned to the station near dawn. After I finally got some sleep, I looked through department records, and there was a missing firefighter from Athens County in 1998. Responded to a rural structure fire near Wayne National Forest. Disappeared during interior search. Body never recovered. I checked the archived photo, and he wore an older yellow helmet. No reflective striping. The nameplate on his helmet read M. Talbot. There was no helmet recovered in his file. I closed the archive window and I didn't mention it to Reeves. 2 weeks later, the county cleared the site where the cabin had stood and no investigation followed. Hope Moonville Road is still there. We still drive it sometimes for brush fires and rescues. And when we do, I look for that dirt track. I haven't found it again, but I remember exactly where we turned off. And I remember how the radio died before the fire started. Case 4. The River Warehouse. The call came in at 2:58 a.m. Smoke investigation. Abandoned warehouse along the Hocking River near the old rail spur off West Union Street. Multiple callers reported smoke coming from the roof. Possible homeless occupants inside. We knew the building. 3 stories, brick exterior, broken windows on the upper floors. The roof partially collapsed on the south side years ago. It'd been red tagged by the city, but never fully secured. People still got inside through a loading dock door that wouldn't latch. We pulled up to light gray smoke pushing from the upper windows on the river-facing side. No visible flame from the street. Reeves positioned the engine to block the access road. Police cruisers arrived seconds later and began clearing the perimeter. "Primary search first," Reeves said. "Possible occupants." Lopez and I messed up. The loading dock door hung crooked in its frame. We forced it wider and stepped inside. The air was thick, but not charged with heavy heat. This wasn't a fully involved fire yet. It smelled like old wood and something synthetic burning, plastic or insulation. Our lights cut through the dust. The main floor was open warehouse space. Broken shelving, stacked pallets, graffiti along the brick walls. We moved in pairs, staying within sight of each other. "Fire's in the rear," Lopez said, pointing toward a faint orange flicker near the back corner. We advanced the line slowly. A small fire was burning in what looked like a makeshift living area built from stacked pallets and sheet metal. A mattress on the floor had partially ignited. A shopping cart sat nearby filled with clothing. No one visible. We knocked the fire down quickly. It wasn't large. And once the immediate threat was controlled, Reeves ordered a full sweep of the structure. Police confirmed no one had exited while we were inside. That meant if anyone was living here, they were still somewhere in the building. We split into 2 teams. Lopez and I took the east side toward the interior loading docks. The floor was uneven. Sections of concrete had crumbled, leaving shallow pits. Water from previous leaks had pooled in spots and reflected our lights. As we moved deeper into the structure, I noticed something on the wall ahead. Handprints. Black soot handprints. At first I assumed they were left by squatters or firefighters from an earlier call. But as we moved closer, I saw that there were too many. Dozens. Then hundreds. Small prints, large prints. Some smeared, some clean and sharply defined. All pressed flat against the brick wall. They covered a stretch about 20 feet wide and 10 feet high. Every single one faced inward toward a single spot on the wall, like they'd all been reaching toward the same place. "Lopez," I said. He stepped beside me and scanned the wall with his light. "Ah, kid's messing around," he said at first. And then he stopped. The handprints were layered over each other. Some looked fresh, some older, but none had drip lines beneath them. No soot streaking downward. They were clean impressions. "Check the wall temp," he said. I placed my gloved hand against the brick, and it was just warm. There was no visible flame in that section. My radio crackled. "Engine 3 to interior east side, status," Reeves said. "Fire knocked down," I replied. Continuing search. And that's when Lopez's pass alarm activated. The loud, shrill beeping echoed off the brick. I spun toward him. He was standing 3 feet from the wall, completely still. Mask on, eyes open behind the face shield, arms hanging at his sides. "Lopez?" I said. No response. His pass alarm continued to sound because he hadn't moved. I grabbed his shoulder. "Lopez?" Nothing. His head was tilted slightly forward, facing the center of the handprints. I followed his line of sight. There was nothing visible in the brick, just soot. And then I noticed something else. The handprints in the center of the wall were darker than the others, and faint red lines were glowing beneath them. Not bright, just visible through the soot, as if heat were coming from inside the brick. "Reeves," I said into the radio. "We've got an unresponsive firefighter." "Location," Reeves said. "East wall near loading docks," I replied. I tried to pull Lopez backward. His boots didn't move at first. It felt like his weight had doubled. The pass alarm continued to scream. "Lopez!" I shouted. And finally his head turned slowly toward me. His eyes were open but unfocused. "They're inside," he said. "What?" "They're inside the wall." The red glow behind the handprints intensified. The brick surface began to crack. Thin lines spread outward from the center. The air temperature spiked instantly. "Get him out," Reeves said over the radio. I braced my boot against the wall and I pulled hard on Lopez's coat collar. And this time he moved. As soon as his back cleared the brick, the red glow vanished. The cracks in the wall stopped spreading. Lopez collapsed against me. I dragged him toward the exit while Carter and Reeves ran toward us. Behind us, the brick wall bulged outward slightly, and then a section near the ceiling collapsed inward. Fire erupted from behind it. Flames shot across the top of the warehouse ceiling and began to spread rapidly. "Defensive," Reeves ordered. We retreated out the loading dock just as the interior ignited fully. The fire moved faster than it should have for a structure that size. Within minutes, flames were pushing from every window on the riverside. We set up exterior lines and protected nearby buildings. The warehouse burned hard for nearly an hour before we gained control. Lopez was transported to the hospital for eval. Severe smoke inhalation. Elevated heart rate. No burns. When he regained full consciousness later that morning, he remembered standing in front of the wall. He said he'd heard voices. Multiple voices. They were saying his name. He said he thought someone was trapped inside, in the wall. The building was demolished the following week due to structural instability, and I drove past during teardown. The east wall, the one with the handprints, had already been removed. The bricks lay scattered in piles. I walked as close as the barricade would allow. None of the bricks showed soot patterns. None showed handprints. They were clean. Lopez transferred departments 3 months later. Said he wanted to be closer to family in Columbus. He doesn't talk about that call. We still run smoke investigations along the river. Every time we step into an abandoned structure now, I check the walls first. Not for fire, for handprints. Well, Ohio doesn't look dangerous from a distance. From the highway, it's fields and tree lines and small towns with water towers painted in school colors, brick storefronts, 2-lane roads, county fairs in the summer. In Athens County, the hills roll soft and green most of the year. In the fall, the trees turn red and gold, and the air smells like leaves and wood smoke. It doesn't look like a place where something waits. But I've been inside enough houses at 2 in the morning to know what the outside doesn't tell you. I have crawled down hallways in Nelsonville where the heat dropped suddenly in rooms that should have been fully involved. I have stood on Route 33 with traffic stopped in both directions and watched headlights reflect off an overpass where nobody was parked. I have forced entry into buildings along the Hocking River, and I have seen walls marked by hands that didn't belong to anyone we could find. Fire is predictable. It needs fuel, oxygen, needs heat. Take one of those away and it dies. Leave them in place and it grows, moves upward, spreads across ceilings. It eats through old wood faster than new. You can measure it. You can train for it. You can put it out. The other things don't follow that system. They don't show up on thermal cameras the way they should. They don't stay where you expect them to stay. They don't leave evidence that survives daylight. The closet in Nelsonville was measured after the fire. There was no space for it in the wall. The overpass camera file corrupted the same day it was requested. The cabin in Wayne National Forest had no basement when the site was cleared. The warehouse bricks along the river showed no marks once the building came down. I don't tell recruits these stories. When new firefighters come in, I teach them how to read smoke, how to sound a floor before committing weight, how to manage their air, how to keep track of their partner in zero visibility. I teach them if they feel lost, they follow the hose line out. If they feel heat spike, they cool the ceiling first. I don't tell them to check overpasses. I don't tell them to measure closets. I don't tell them to watch walls for warmth when there's no visible flame. That isn't part of the curriculum. But I do notice more now. When we respond to a house fire and clear a bedroom, I look at the door hinges to see if they match the frame. When we stage under a bridge at night, I scan the guardrail before I focus on the wreck. When we enter an abandoned structure, I let my light linger on the brick and concrete longer than I used to. Reeves doesn't ask why. He's seen enough in his own career not to question habits that keep people alert. Lopez calls sometimes from Columbus, and we talk about normal things. Shift rotations, overtime, equipment budgets. He doesn't mention the river warehouse, and I don't either. But there's a pause in his voice whenever the conversation gets too quiet. The hills in this part of Ohio are older than the roads that cut through them. Old mines run under some of the counties nearby. Abandoned shafts, collapsed tunnels. There are places in Wayne National Forest where the trees grow thin because the ground beneath them isn't solid rock anymore. You can stand on earth that looks steady and not know what's hollow underneath. I think about that sometimes when we respond to calls out in the rural areas. Not the geology. The idea that something can sit just below the surface and never be seen until the structure above it shifts. Most nights are ordinary. Most calls end the way they're supposed to. Fire knocked down, patient transported, scene cleared, gear cleaned, reports filed. But every so often, something in this state doesn't line up. A room that wasn't there. A figure that vanishes between frames. A basement that doesn't survive daylight. A wall that grows warm without flame. I still love the job, don't get me wrong. I still trust the behavior of fire. But I don't assume it's the only thing moving inside a structure anymore. Ohio looks quiet at night. Fields go dark, roads empty out. Houses settle into silence. But when we roll out past the edge of town, I don't just think about heat and smoke anymore. Because fire can kill you. But other things can too.